Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the 3 things every romantic relationship needs to be successful. So these things are love, communication, and action. And all of those take time. So it takes time to build love, it takes time to create action, and it takes time to build effective communication. So here's the truth about relationships. True relationships, as said, take time. It takes time to communicate, act, and love. So we live in a world that likes to rush love. Everyone wants a relationship that looks perfect right off the bat, but people rarely often want to build one that lasts. And I myself am a victim of that type of thought process. I wanted to get into a relationship as soon as one showed up, and I wanted to love, I wanted to have that beauty, but without realizing it, that slipped away from me faster than I could have held on to it. Because those ideal relationships, right? The pictures of you, relationships that you have in your mind, where you're sitting having a beautiful dinner with your beautiful woman, and you're working hard with your woman, and you're owning this business. Those things take years. That idea of love you have in your mind, that idea of beautiful communication, that idea of action that you take on to each other, that's something that you get in years. And it is a bit like a stab, it's a bit like a knife to the heart when I think about that, because I want so badly to have these core elements with somebody, but that stuff takes time. And let me tell you, my biggest disadvantage is how impatient I am. So definitely that one's a big skill. That one's a big skill I have to learn. Being patient, especially when it comes to relationships, because time will build everything. And if you're able to be a good man through time, well, then you shall have a good relationship. So there are 3 key aspects in every strong relationship. As said, they're love, action, communication, and every one of them takes time, right? And this is important because we know we want to do it correctly. And given time, we're allowed to make mistakes. Given time, we're allowed to have room for growth. And if we don't grow, if we don't take time to work with each other, there's consequences. And the consequences are there's no relationship. Now, let me give you something that you might not resonate with, but you'd appreciate. I had that ideal relationship, just for a moment, almost, where you had the love, the communication, the action, right? It was building. Here's the problem, though. There was a time limit, right? That was when I was going off to school. Granted, I'm home right now, but that's just for the holiday. I'm going to be back to school in a moment. But here's what happened. Because there's a time limit, A, things were rushed, and B, there wasn't enough time to properly build those foundational elements. So when you put a time limit on things, it completely just neglects everything that's necessary, and it ruins everything. That's why I'm a firm believer that if you think the person you're going to be with, or you think the person you're dating is going to be the one you marry, then you don't set boundaries, you set goals, right? Well, that sounds odd, but maybe consider them as temporary boundaries, or you're having a more positive outlook, so you set goals in the future. The point of this is that there isn't a time limit, because when you say, oh yeah, I want to have a relationship, but by the end of August, I'm going to stop dating you, doesn't that make things a bit more difficult? Because you can't manufacture love. You can't manufacture this beautiful communication, and you surely can't manufacture action. And the more you ask for it as a man, the weaker you are. So it all takes time. And as a man who's a little hurt himself, all I can ask for is time. All I can ask for and pray for is that I'm given time and an opportunity to prove myself, because you prove yourself through time. So every man should be asking God, can I have time? Can I have time with someone to prove myself, to then build those things? Because God does not rush growth. He tests it through time, and He provides challenges for you to overcome. I believe I'm in a point in my life where I was stripped from the person I wanted to have this relationship with because there was a time limit, and now, given more time, I'm supposed to work on myself and supposed to become a better, more faithful man. So that way, if I'm ever blessed with the opportunity to have time again or to return, I shall be a good man who will have overcome all of his past errors, right? So stuff like, because I'm just going to be open about everything I've struggled with. I've struggled with lust, I've struggled with impatience, I've struggled with my own mental health, so I'd always overthink about things. And I'm going to be open about these because I believe if I want to truly conquer these issues of mine, I need to be open. So I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to beat around the bush, I'm not going to say some shenanigans, I'm going to tell the truth, right? and this is incredibly important. So this is about kind of what we're going to be talking about today's video. I hope you don't mind the quality of the video. It's a bit more rehearsed than the previous ones, but I promise you that the information in it is going to be just as important, rehearsed or not, and it's going to be just as raw coming from me. But anyways, now you get an idea why time is so important. So let's start with communication. So communication is the act of removing fear. Now, you might not be able to fully appreciate what I'm saying when I say communication is the act of removing fear, but think about it this way. Have you ever wanted something from someone, but were either too afraid to ask or too shameful to ask? I have. I'll give you an example. I wanted a kiss badly, right? I wanted a kiss. And I would tell myself, oh, I want a kiss. I should ask for that. But then I'd also tell myself, no, Nolan, it's a little shameful to ask for those things. You shouldn't ask for affection. You don't deserve it. And then I wouldn't ask for it. So here's what happens. I'm upset I didn't get a kiss. And I'm upset because I feel like I'm undeserving of it. And my partner doesn't even know, right? You see how ridiculous that is? But when there is communication, first of all, I ask them in the first place. So there's no shame in it. And I'm happy with the result, whether it happens or doesn't happen, because it was communicated. And two, the partner knows about it. So because the partner knows about it, there's, first of all, an effective piece of communication, so they know, but it also eliminates any potential consequence, any negative consequence. It also sets the not boundary, it also sets the expectation for what is the communication will be. So the partner can then see, oh, even a small thing like a kiss, that may be unexpected, or even like holding hands or anything, like an apology. If you feel like you've been hurt, an apology, asking for forgiveness. If you ask for those things, it sets the expectation that you're allowed to ask for anything. And in a relationship where you can ask for anything, well, that sounds like a really good relationship, because often we feel shameful, we feel emotionally neglected when we ask for things. So we tend to keep it closer to ourselves. But if we can overcome that fear and make it clear to each other that we want this communication, then there is no shame. And even in the event where there is shame, well, you've asked them, and if you get it, you'd be getting what you want, and they'd be loving you and helping you get what you want. So doesn't that sound good, right? It's a win-win situation. They do something you want, you do something you want, you both like it because you care for each other, you both talked about it and communicated, and now there's an expectation that you can communicate, right? And when we speak, we release doubt, right? So it's not just a shame, but it's a doubt, it's a worry. I talked about it a little bit just earlier, having this doubt or worry about this person. Oh, they didn't do it, even though I never asked them to. Girls struggle with this a lot, but an emotionally weak man like myself also struggles with it. And I've had my partner tell me, oh yeah, I can't read minds, or you can't read minds, so I need to be clear with my communication. Yeah, I'm pretty good at telling what people can think, and I'm especially good in a relationship setting, telling and understanding what my partner wants, or wanted at that time. But I still can't read minds. I can't tell how you're feeling. I need you to tell me. I need to support you. You need to allow for me to support you. Right? When we stay silent, we let insecurities multiply. So whatever you're worried about me worrying about, or whatever you're worried about happening, if you don't tell me, I can't resolve the issue. And by not talking about it, the issue can never be resolved. So it just gets worse. And that's the same for me. I need to be more clear with my communication. And we can overcome that challenge just simply by communicating. Communication is one of the only forms of interaction in a relationship where it's always a win-win situation. If something bad happens, you communicate about it, you get a stronger connection, and then you succeed. If something good happens, well, then something good happens. So there's no losing. A strong man doesn't just talk, but he invites the partner to speak. He's asking the partner to communicate. And that's really important to know, because too often we'll communicate but be unclear on whether we want to be communicated with in return. Women especially struggle with this because they don't understand how purpose-driven or how solution-driven men are. So a good woman will tell you how she wants the communication to work, and will establish the expectation for how a man can receive that communication. And just by communicating that alone allows for a lot of good things. Because if a woman just wants support and not solutions, and if you're a girl, you'd understand that. If you're a guy, you might not. But essentially, women really just want to be heard over having their problem solved, which sucks because it goes against everything a guy believes. But really, if you want solutions, if you want listening and not solutions, If you communicate that with the man, then you're good. You're golden, right? Yeah, it hurts a little bit to talk because you just want him to know, but I struggled with this. You need to understand, he instinctively does not know that you don't want solutions. He thinks you want solutions. But if you tell him you don't and you just want to be heard, then 1, you're heard. 2, he doesn't feel bad because he knows how to help you. It's a win-win. But if you don't tell him you want to be heard, if you don't tell him you don't want solutions, then he'll try to provide solutions. And A, you'll be upset that he provided solutions when you didn't want to, even though he didn't know. And B, he'll be upset because now you're upset at him. So just talk. Just communicate. It's that simple. And it sucks to do sometimes, but if you're at this third tier of awareness where you can have this beautiful conversation where you appreciate one another, there's no issue. There isn't. So have good communication. That's the most important foundational element in a relationship. Discussing small conversations earlier, small concerns like, I wish we spent more time together, can prevent emotional drift. Expressing desire without shame builds trust. I like it when you do this. I don't like it when you do that. And it doesn't have to be big things. It can be small things, right? Oh, I want you to hold my arm this way, or I don't like it when you do it here, right? You got to normalize emotional honesty, because if you're dishonest with each other, there's problems. And I've experienced it too well. When you keep things from each other and when there's a lack of communication, pardon my language, but it fucks with you, and badly. So let me tell you, based on my own experiences, don't let poor communication ruin you, and strive for better communication. And as a man, you got to lead with communication. You can't wait for her to communicate. You got to set the expectation. This is how we're talking. I want to talk to you. You got to be outgoing. You have to be courageous, and you have to be charismatic. A good man will do those things. But communication alone isn't enough. Words without action are like promises without proof, because action at the end of the day is what's necessary. You can say, I don't like it when you do this, and the man can say, no problem. I appreciate you talked about that and you acknowledge that, and B, you know what, I'll do it. But if he doesn't do it, it's kind of crummy. So we actually need to do these things. We need to provide action. Action is what transforms love from a feeling into commitment, right? Like saying, okay, yeah, I'll hold your hand this way, and then you do it. Or, you know what, I'll carry you this way, or I'll touch you this way, or hold you this way, or look at you this way, or talk to your parents this way, or cut the grass this way, or play with your dog this way, or do this, or do that. It doesn't have to be these big, otherworldly concepts. It's as simple as just talking and doing. And a good man is going to talk about it and do it. And if he doesn't like it or he wants to communicate about it, he'll communicate about it. It's not that simple. Sorry, it's not that complicated. It's insanely simple. I don't know, I'm overcomplicating it here. It's as simple as just do it. Granted, a lot of people say they want to go to the gym and never do it. So maybe I do need to make things complicated. Maybe I do need to make myself clear 1,000 times. If you want a good relationship, you got to talk, overcome the frustrations of not talking, and then do it. It's that simple. Like planning dates, remembering details, showing consistency, it all counts, right? A relationship doesn't die from hate, but it dies from neglect. Right? If a really good relationship feels emotionally neglected when there's no communication, no action, and no love. So with all those things, you'll never feel emotionally neglected. And let me tell you, I've been there, done that. I'm ready to come back, I'm ready to come back, pursue, and feel with all of my love and express all of my action and communication. Because that's what it means to be a good man. You got to be able to communicate and have action and provide love. That's how it works. So I gotta highlight this balance here. Love is a partnership of action, right? So small daily actions, right? Checking in, remembering little things, right? Do you want a solution or do you want a listener, right? How do you want me to provide for you? How do you want me to help? Right? This means a lot more than grand gestures, because a man who will make a big date or do this big showcase is a lot worse than a man who will pick up a flower for her every day or will compliment her every day. And it's not just that you're beautiful, it's I love the way your hazel eyes reflect in mine, and I love the way your cheeks are a little rosy, and I love the way your eyebrows complement your hair. I don't care what color your hair is, I love it because it's yours and you put so much more effort than I realize. That's what makes a good man. You need to understand the details, because women are detail oriented. And the sooner you can understand that, the sooner you can have better communication and better action. And real action is consistency, even when it's inconvenient for you. And a good woman will notice that. A good woman will see, wow, that man, really did this thing for me even when it was crummy for him. And she'll double down and help you. And if you communicate about it, it's even better. Seriously, if you talk about these things and how you're working hard, even when it's really difficult, and you communicate about it without shame, it's perfect. It's perfect. That's how good relationships work. And everyone is unaware of that, which is why there's so many bad relationships. Because a man's love is shown in his work. A woman's love is shown in her faith for him. That's why a man naturally leads and a woman naturally supports. But a woman can lead him in the support, and a man can support him or support her through leading. It's a beautiful dynamic where they complement each other in every regard. And their actions should build trust, not just expectations, right? There's an expectation for communication and love, but they should build faith in each other, right? Like, you're not going to expect God to instantly gratify your prayer, but you'll have faith that with enough work, you might be worthy and you might be worthy and deserving of it. So why would you not have that same application to your relationship? Would you not want to work hard enough to then be deserving of these things? It's beautiful. But again, none of that means anything if the love itself isn't real, right? If it isn't patient, forgiving, and tested by time. So I myself was very loving to someone and they were cut off to me, right? But they didn't lie to me. They kept things from me, but they never lied to me. They never told me they loved me when they didn't. And that was important to me because it taught me that they were a good person. They weren't willing to tell you things that were wrong, and they weren't willing to tell you things that might hurt you because they were lying. They would never say I love you when they didn't. And that's what makes a good woman. A good woman will tell you when she loves you, and she'll tell you when she doesn't. But a good relationship is built with that good woman who will build love with you. A woman who wants to build love with you is when you're a man that's deserving. And to be fair, at that time, I was not a deserving man of love. Now I'm working towards becoming that man. So maybe, hopefully, one day I might be deserving of love and I might receive it. But love is the most important aspect here. Love without patience is attraction. And love without patience is devotion. Love with patience is devotion. If you're devoted to someone, that means you're going to take action. You're going to you're going to have beautiful communication and take action, right? That is how you're devoted to someone. You're extremely sacrificial to them because you're willing to take away from your time to them because you value them over your own time. But without that, you're just attracted to them. And the one thing I want to make clear to this person and to the rest of the world is my love is never attraction. My love is always devotion. I'm doing all of this. I'm planning all of this. I'm doing so much work. More work than even sometimes I can fully appreciate. More work than anybody will ever appreciate and realize. And that's totally okay with me because that's what it means to be a good man. That's what it means to be devoted. That's what it means to have true love. And as ridiculous as it sounds, I'll say it and I'll never feel shame for it. I am in love. I feel love. I feel this beautiful richness inside of me. And it doesn't matter how long it takes or how hard I gotta work, but true devotion and true love means you're willing to work through all of it and spend the time necessary to build those things like love, action, and communication. Sometimes love means doing well, but what they need instead of I completely misread that one, my apologies. So sometimes love means doing what they need instead of what we want. So I just talked about that one a little bit. I'm just reading through some of my notes here. Yeah, so love effectively is doing whatever they need or whatever they desire over what we need and what we desire. And that's what it means to be a man. That's what it means to sacrifice. That's what it means to do what Jesus did for the church. You gotta die for your woman. You gotta sacrifice for your woman. You gotta die every day for this woman. Metaphorically, and maybe one day physically. Because if you're not dying for this woman, if you're not sacrificing for her, who is she to submit to you? You must be a man deserving of this submission if you must desire it. And every man desires this submission, so why must you not become the man who will die? You must die for her every day. And that is my goal. I want to die for her every day. I want to work for her every day. I want to sacrifice every day. So one day, maybe I shall be granted with the submission, with the love, with the communication. And of course, you got to be respectful, right? A lot of this is necessary in respect. And it's a huge grayscale. What I'm saying is very important, but you need to take it with a very macro grain of salt. A very micro grain of salt. Macro is big, micro is small. A very micro grain of salt. Because this takes time. And you're not going to see all these things right away. So take your time. Take time to build things. If it doesn't happen overnight, that sucks. But there's tomorrow night. And there's next night, and the next night, and the next one. So, unless there's some sort of time limit, take as long as you want. And if there is a time limit, well, then you got to reevaluate some things, because let me tell you, time limits really ruin all of it. I'm hoping that hopefully I'll be given this opportunity, this other chance to have this submission, because I will be dying for them. And I will do it every day, and I will work hard, and maybe there won't be a time limit. But until then, only time will tell. Only God knows. And I'm going to spend every day working hard for it. Because love sees imperfection, and it chooses the commitment anyways. Right? It's not blind forgiveness, but it's understanding and fully appreciating that, getting that third tier of awareness and knowing the growth that it takes. Because love will grow you. But until then, a good man will heal on his own. Because why would a woman need to heal a man? She must make him grow and blossom as a flower. Right? Real love builds the appreciation we have for another. Right? That's the third tier awareness I was talking about. Where you know the other's needs before they even say it. Where they sit down and you go, I know what you want. I know what you need right now. And instinctively you do that. So many men are naturally good at this, and so are women. But the better we get at it, the better the relationship is. So just like every other muscle in our body, why would we not want to train it? Why would we not want to work it harder? Why would we not want to just express it every day to get better at it? I truly believe that we should be trying to get better at these things. And all of them will be the test of time. Time is the ultimate teacher. It won't ever lie. You can't rush anything, just like you can't rush trust. And a good man will be tested by time, and love, distance, and in discipline. The truth is, when love is true, when love is rich, like what I try to have, no distance in between and no time away will ever change the love. In fact, some would say, as I would, the love would grow deeper. There would be better love. So communication should flourish. Action should flourish. Things should get better. But that requires two commitments. That requires commitments from both. But when that is achieved, when there is a beautiful commitment, holy smokes, is it good. Again, that all takes time. And all of that growth, all of this improvement, this beautiful communication, the beautiful action, beautiful love takes time. Without time, there's nothing. Yesterday will never return, but tomorrow can be built. Future and past are just concepts. We're always living in the present. But the further you understand them, the more you realize, just forget about yesterday and work for tomorrow. Forget about the miscommunication and work towards forgiveness. Forget about the time she said she doesn't want this and work towards what she does want. Become the man that is worthful of submission, and forget the boy that was so pathetic and just almost never deserving and always just desiring these things. You got to work to become the man worthy of submission. Made a good video on that. You probably watched that series. Teaches you how to do it. Because God, finally, uses time to prepare the faithful. Not to punish them, but to prove them. And we're given challenges, whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in God or not. We are given challenges in life. And we need to prove ourselves, either to God or to us, or to our partners, or all three at the same time, that we are adequate, that we are deserving. And a true man of love, a true man of commitment, a true man who does good communication, good action, and good love will work hard tirelessly and will only grow further. That's my goal. Deep down, all of this is nice, but all I want is that love, communication, and action. And it will take time. And boy, am I impatient. But yeah, love gives you patience, action gives you proof, and communication gives you understanding. Because when you're in love and someone tells you they love you and loves you, you're not worried about waiting. When they give you actions and show you things that they're working on, you can be reassured with their commitment. And when they communicate, you understand their intent. So all three demand time. And that's the one thing that most people are too impatient, like myself, to give. Especially when there's time limits. Boy, is that haunting me. If you're in love or hoping to be, you gotta slow down. You gotta take the time to communicate, take time to act, and of course take time to love. Maybe not every woman is meant to be for you. There's a reason why it's called She's the One, because there's only one for you. And that doesn't mean you can't work on the one. That doesn't mean the one isn't ready or is ready. But it takes time, and you gotta build it. there's no reason for not trying, and there's no reason to not give up. And I'm spending every moment out here not giving up. I'm spending every moment out here trying as hard as I can. Because anything that lasts forever can afford to take its time. My name is Nolan T. Painter, and thank you for watching.